This is Elmonster's Journal for Baldur's Gate 2. It was written in 2000, in December of 17th, 2000. So we're talking 20 years ago by Kevin Dorner. His website, members.home.com, Mr. Kevy, I don't even think it exists anymore. So this can't be found, and this guy did an excellent job of creating a solo run for a mage through Baldur's Gate 2. It's called the Unexpurgated Journal of Elmonster, Mage of the Realms, a Baldur's Gate walkthrough and fan fiction. Impossible to finish Baldur's Gate 2 with a capped solo mage without cheating? Well, one cheat. An empty bag. Not impossible. This is a path definitely not recommended for those too impatient to learn exactly what all those spells do, or suffer through some very slow battles. But I did it, so you could too. Remember always that your intelligence and wit will outdo the cruel, mechanical logic of your enemies every time, and you shall be victorious. After finishing Baldur's Gate 2 with several different characters, twice solo with an elven fighter mage thief exported from Baldur's Gate 1, I thought that this would be the ultimate test of magery, game knowledge, patience, and prowess, and was inspired to it after finding and exploring the powers and possibilities of the Staff of the Magi, without which, of course, this would have been far more difficult or very nearly impossible. Follow my journal, and I shall detail to you just what impossible means. Prologue. Elmonster is a lawful neutral human mage exported from Baldur's Gate 1. Stats: Strength 19, Intelligence 19, Dexterity 19, Constitution 19, Wisdom 12, Charisma 13. Yes, superhuman, but without cheating. You do remember all those lovely tombs in Baldur's Gate 1. They were there for a reason. The developers did say they unbalanced the game a bit. For a mage such as myself, the 19 intelligence was the most important statistic. This enables me to have unlimited spells in my spellbook. Though I am constrained by the rules of Fair Mistra has imposed on we spellcasters, as are others for memorization. If only my enemies were. There was one tomb for each statistic, except wisdom. There were 3 for that. Those of magery can tend to be a little unwise at times. I am glad of those tombs. I still had to roll stats for 2 hours to be able to put 4 18s into important stats, and reasonable numbers in less important ones. But I think you will agree it paid off in the long run. Why does a mage need dexterity anyways? Well, if he is to survive, he had best not be hit. And an 18 dexterity gives a 4 bonus to his armor class, as well as helping his performance with his sling or darts. His high constitution gives him the hit points needed to survive, and high strength is required for lifting all those items he will find. And like it or not, if he is alone, he will become involved in melee combat quite often, and at best be able to deal damage with his staff. Strength is paramount for this, as mages can never gain weapon proficiencies that increase the amount of damage or improve the hit chances. The best a mage can do is to use a weapon without penalty, and all other modifiers must come through strength, the weapon's enchantment, Thaco, that's to hit armor class 0, and luck. As well, without a thief to open locked chests and doors for him, he had best be able to force the important ones, or become stuck if he doesn't have the knock spell. Well, you know, my modification of this was first a thief and then dueled to a mage. All right, day 1. I awaken imprisoned in the underground laboratory of one of those annoying mages who just flings spells around like confetti at a wedding and disregards all the memorization rules. Sigh. I can tell he's going to be an enemy because of that. He quickly confirms this by using me as target practice. How wonderful to wake up to being tortured by madmen. I don't know what he has done to me before this, but I have forgotten all the spells I knew. Some teenage girl arrives. Do I remember her from Candlekeep? I think she was from there too, and claims that she knows me. But I travel alone, so brush her off. There are 2 other annoying people in cages as well. A haughty druid and an obnoxiously loud ranger. I free them, but though they wish to cling to my presence. Why do these pathetic souls do so? Unfortunately, my privacy and independence are of paramount importance. My initial spells are Dire Charm, Chromatic Orb, Find Familiar, Spook, Blur, Detect Invisibility, Invisibility, Dire Charm, Minor Spell Deflection, and Stone Skin. I rest immediately to memorize spells. Now I find I can have a companion worthwhile. I cast Find Familiar. My new ferret friend is 50% magic resistant, has a 0 armor class, and 75% pickpockets, 40% stealth, and 20% find traps abilities. Good for starting, but I won't be relying on that too much. She will keep me safe and from being broke. I am sure to return this favor, so I can remove Find Familiar and memorize something else now. If I am to value her companionship and keep her safe, she will need a name so that I think of her as someone worth protecting. My namesake's scribe and companion is Leo. Leo. And I've often heard the name Lazarus for someone who was conjured forth. That's from the Bible. I will call her Leozarus. And she does keep me safe, finding several traps. While she can't disarm them, I can use spells such as Minor Spell Deflection and my Slow Poison ability to avoid their effects. I know, were I a thief, that I could gain a lot of experience for disarming them. Such a shame. Soon I hope to be a force in the realms, and here I am getting kicked around by simple mephits and goblins. My tutor would have had my hide for such lax magery. My greatest triumph today comes in the form of 2 lesser golems. They would prove an imposing obstacle to most. Noticing that they are idle, I surmise that they must be guarding something I probably want. I won't give them the pleasure of surprising me. I cast Stone Skin and Monster Summoning too. 2 gnolls appear. I set them on the golems one at a time. The golem's force is wasted on the gnolls, while I take them down with the magical quarterstaff +1 that I found in a trapped box. I paid a price of lightning for as well. My spells exhausted and my body hurt and aching, I rest again. Oh, wait. Yes. Such a shame. Soon I hope to be a force in the realms and here I am getting kicked around by simple mephits and goblins. My tutor would have had my hide for such lax magery. My greatest triumph today comes... Okay. All right. My spell's exhausted and my body hurt and aching. I rest again. I dream. A dream I cannot see, but I know it is true. I feel it. There is a staff of the magi near this place. Somewhere, close by here. It is probably formidably guarded, but I shall not rest from this goal. If I am to accomplish any mission, it is a necessity. Day 2 through Day 4. Still poking around this dungeon on its second level. There were a few difficult encounters, but have survived them. A bounty hunter thief from Karatua appeared to want to join up with me, and I was tempted knowing of how many traps I would have to stomp on. But something about his demeanor convinced me to do otherwise. He seemed a little too eager, and his story of suddenly waking up here after falling asleep in a room at an inn did not convince me. I know why I'm here. My captor indicated that. You have such potential. Obviously, he knows I am a child of Baal, and is probably trying to use this for his benefit somehow. The thief would not have been here without a reason that he knew, and did not want to tell me. I managed to defeat some mephit portals by summoning a gnoll and a direwolf to distract the mephits while I whacked at the portals. Also found a nice pair of bracers of defense armor class 8. While I hope to have a much better pair soon, I will take what I can, and any improvement is welcome. A rather tricky mage had escaped from her jar. Rather than waiting for her to attack me, I stunned her with chromatic orb when she stood, and pounded her into a well-deserved oblivion. She yielded one of 6 strange keys. By far the most annoying opponents are those mephits, though. Finally, a doppelganger, some thieves, and a few Duergar later, I leave the dungeon. I have 6 unidentified wands. Well, correct that. I know what they are. I don't want to waste identify scrolls on them, though. I am reading back over my journal and note a lack of detail caused by my disorientation and loss of memory. I will correct this for later entries and try to be more thorough in my accounts, if this is to mean anything to me in the future. Day 5. At long last. Out in the open air, who should greet me but that confetti spell tosser and the teenage girl again. He pulps some thieves, and then a few other mages show up. They throw random spells at each other as if they didn't have to memorize them. But in the end, Mr. Confetti is victorious. For some reason, he surrenders to them, and they take him and the teenager. She calls out for help. But I really couldn't care less about her right now. I'm alone in a city where, it seems from the comments of the mages, the magic is illegal, and I have little else. I will have to use every scrap of wit I can just to survive. My first task is to sell off all the useless weapons, armor, and other knickknacks I picked up in the dungeon. I need money to survive, and I may need a lot more of it than I can hope to find here, even with my familiar's pickpocketing. I will have some lean times. I feel like resting, so visit a nearby inn. On the second floor, a tough group of nasties starts taunting me. There is a human mage and his imp familiar, a dwarven warrior with a hammer, a human warrior with a 2-handed sword, and a human thief. Though I am weak, alone, and injured in a city where I cannot put my only strength to use, I will not stand for that sort of treatment. I cast Fireball into the center of the room, and no wizards arrived to arrest me. I have learned something. Magic may be monitored here, but those who do can only see outdoor spellcasting. Immediately the group attacks me. I hightail it out of there. Little do I know that the sudden force of my attack has caused the thief to turn berserk. I will have one less opponent to deal with than I had planned on. The human warrior follows me out of the inn, and suddenly, though he is armored and equipped with a powerful two-handed sword, I am at the advantage. He does not have a ranged weapon. I run him around and around, a strange machine in the center of what I know now to be called Joaquin's Promenade, never allowing him within sword reach, and attacking him with my sling when he is far enough behind me. 10 minutes later, he is dead. I know immediately upon retrieving his sword its name and history. It is the two-handed +3 cursed berserking sword placed in my hands by Captain Bragg of the Omnish Guard of the border town of Nashville, after I lifted its curse from him by correctly answering his riddle. The poor man was distraught, having murdered his family and others while influenced by this weapon, and I had shown him safely to the Temple of Helm, whose kind and wise priest knew the real reason behind Bra's actions, and gave him sanctuary. I would forever respect the priests of Helm and their little god, or false god, for this insight into their character. I had sold the sword at the nearby shop, and it had returned to haunt me. Now that part, folks, was back in Baldur's Gate 1. I still have remaining opponents. The imp proves to be difficult. It has followed me onto the streets and cast several spells at me. No wizards arrived to stop it. How bloody unfair. It appears that they are all just watching me and waiting for me to cast a spell before pouncing. I make a silent vow to never befriend these rogues guised as law and order. If the law is not upheld, equivalently, it is worthless, as are its upholders. I pound the imp to putty with my slightly magical quarterstaff and re-enter the inn. The next opponent to make the foolish mistake of following me out of the inn is the dwarf. Though he never gets a hit on me, he proves to be the most difficult of all, as it turns out that he is wearing full plate armor and has about 200 hit points. I exhaust my sling bullets on him and have to run out in the middle of the battle to buy more of them. Even worse, he has 3 potions of extra healing and drinks one whenever he gets badly injured. Only 15% of my sling bullets strike him. 2 hours and 400 bullets and 4 dead Omnish guards that got in his way. Later, he falls. I collect his useless but saleable full plate with a tired feeling of triumph, but dreading what still lies ahead. My fears are unfounded. The thief has killed the mage in his berserk state, and is the last of the opponents to remain. I cast Stoneskin, and his backstab merely takes out a Stoneskin. His flexible leather armor is weak against my quarterstaff, and in seconds he is fleeing the battle. I collect the possessions of the dead mage, and I have found a treasure, worth only a few hundred gold pieces, but priceless in its use. Its life-saving ability, to me, the cloak of non-detection, a must for the invisible mage who wishes to stay that way. It makes my desire for the staff and the invisibility it provides all the more powerful. Day 6. There is a guard in front of a circus tent here in the promenade who tells me that the circus has been taken over, and no one has come out again. I could investigate it, but not in my present condition. Hoping I am making the right decision, I spend over 11,000 gold pieces from all the times I collected items I collected at the Adventure Mart nearby, and buy 2 items that I require. A magical +2 sling. It's a magical +2 sling. And bracers of defense armor class 3. So he gets the +2 sling and the bracers of defense armor class 3. These bracers I know are the best of their kind. I will never find better. And they are an absolute necessity for one who can't wear armor. They turn out to be a wise investment. The circus has been taken over by a mad illusionist gnome and filled with shadows and werewolves. I can now go toe-to-toe with the werewolf, though 2 are a little difficult, with my new bracers protecting me. And shadows are a pushover. They occasionally drain my strength, even through a stone skin. But I just wait a short time for it to go back up again. My armor class is now -2 with the ring of protection I found in the dungeon in a statue, the bracers, and my high dexterity. Even better than all of this, my wonderful familiar has pickpocketed the storekeeper at the Adventure Mart for a truly useful item, a ring of regeneration. Pickpocketed the storekeeper at the Adventure Mart for a ring of regeneration. I can now heal spontaneously, though slowly. I will never run out of healing potions or have to purchase healing at a temple again. As long as I can survive a battle by any tiny amount, I can just stand around until fully healed. Boring, but necessary. When I dispose of the fiendish gnome who usurped the circus, he drops a nice belt that improves my armor class by 3 against piercing weapons, like bolts and arrows, and a ring of human influence that puts my average charisma up to 18. This is very good. Now I will get a nice discount whenever I buy anything, especially if I cast friends first, and will also help with general conversation, helping me to get a favorable response. He also drops a few spell scrolls that I read or sell. Day 7. I visit the Bridge District, where I learn of the Skinner murders, and the Temple District. In the Bridge District's 5 Flagons Inn, I stop to watch a play and end up being given the task to rescue a kidnapped actor from a wizard. This leads me to the Temple District, where I find out about a cult called the Unseeing Eye, and the Temple of Helm asks me to investigate. This also involves the sewers, so I go into them. I encounter a few easily dispatched goblins and gibberlings. There is a large party of tough-looking fellows hiding out in the northeast. Good thing I search invisibly with the cloak. One casts true sight, and it breaks my shabby invisibility, but I am out of his visual range by the time I am visible. I will give them a miss for now. I am now 11th level, and the spells I am finding match this rather poorly. I have memorized 3 minor spell turnings in the 5th level slots, having not a single cloud kill or anything else to put there. There is a thief fence named Roger peddling his wares down there in the sewers, and he asked me to kill off a sea troll that has been pestering him for a reward of 500 gold pieces. In melee, this is hopeless. It regenerates as fast as I can damage it. Instead, I do what I am good at. Casting Chromatic Orb petrifies at 11th level, and then Flame Arrow to permanently kill it when it is down. The 500 gold are mine. I find this wizard named Mechrap, and rather than fighting him, accept his proposal that I comb the sewers for his missing imp, who stole a mirror of summoning. The imp is an easy kill with a skull trap, but what he is summoned is nigh impossible. A lesser earth elemental. I don't have a weapon that will hit it. Still being constrained to the +1 quarterstaff that has long outlived its purpose, and elementals are magic resistant. Instead, as it is not necessary to kill it, I lead it into the end of the dead-end tunnel the troll lived in, then cast invisibility just before it reaches me. I will have to remember never to go down there again, at least until I have the staff. Returning the mirror to the wizard satisfies him and he departs. The kidnapped actor appears, but he still requires a portal gem. From his appearance, he looks to be a tiefling, a human-demon crossbreed. Some humans distrust tieflings due to their heritage, but I am sure many are not deserving of this, so I will do what I can. I would imagine he wants to return to his home plane, and is stuck here. You meet the most interesting people around here. I tell you. I have to battle through several salamanders, and you on Team Mages, guarding the altar that holds the gem, but emerge battered but victorious. Though I had previously bemoaned my situation of having 3 minor spell turnings memorized, as I have no other 5th level spells, I end up using them all. There are some nasty trap chests here that minor spell turning proves useful for avoiding the effects of. Alright, that was day 1 through day 7 from Elmonster's Journal.